Well, what's up, guys?
Hey,
Hey,
I'm Dawson.
I was going to say the classic Dawson line.
and welcome to episode 53 of the Nothing But Controversy podcast, our New Year's special. We are officially 45 days away from the Super Bowl, and we are 0 days away from Mr. Shane O'Donnell's birthday. My goodness, happy birthday, my friend.
Thank you.
The big double two, fact. As you may have noticed already, if you're watching on YouTube, we are missing someone. Missing our dear friend Dawson. He is currently hurting with a migraine, so we hope he gets better soon.
Producer D-Dog, thoughts and prayers up to you, my friend.
Mm-hmm. Shane has been slamming some beers, and he's going to continue to slam those beers. So if he starts slurring his words during the podcast, you know why.
Normal.
But yeah, I guess we'll go into our first topic, and of course we're going to talk about the NFL and the conversation I kind of wanted to bring up in the debate. I mean, I don't really know if it's a debate anymore. It's like starting to like narrow down, but I want to talk about the MVP conversation. I guess I was kind of hoping that Dawson would be here so he can give his perspective for JT and his argument for JT. But just to give a perspective right here, right now, there's five main contenders for the people in the conversation, let's say. And there's one like clear-cut contender right now. Number one, in terms of odds, Aaron Rodgers is at minus 150. Brady's at plus 500. JT's at plus 600. Mahomes plus 1100. And Josh Allen plus 1200. So I'm wondering with you guys, do you think Aaron Rodgers is 100% like locked up to win it again for the second year in a row, and what would be his fourth time winning?
Personally, yes. Do I like it? I'm indifferent. I mean, like,
Yeah.
he deserves it, I guess.
Oh, and again, man.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, it's
Listen,
and they've
like-
had some struggles this year too. Like he played a couple games without Devontae and still beat the
Mm.
Cards, so on the road nonetheless. So
At a certain point, like we've seen so many times, the MVP is not a most valuable player award. It's a QB award. So rightfully, it's going to go to the quarterback that played the best throughout the year. Like Cam said, he deserves it 100%. He's been the best quarterback this year. He was the best quarterback last year. He deserved it last year.
The weird thing is, I think if you would have asked me this like maybe 3-4 weeks ago, I think I still would have had Brady winning. And Brady was at like
me too.
Brady's
Like,
like
do I think he's going to
100.
win by what he won last year? No, I don't think it's going to be a blowout like he won it last year. I think people are going to give Brady the benefit of the doubt by his age, what he's done. He's going to get those votes. To me, I think JT should win it though.
I think he's going to get some votes. Honestly,
I think JT is going to hit
two.
2,000 yards. I do. I strongly think he's going to hit 2,000 yards. But it's kind of funny to me because it's like a slap in the face of the Packers. I don't think he's going to go back next year. And this guy just won back-to-back MVPs, and you're sitting there because you decided to draft a quarterback 2 years ago. You got to trade this guy. You're going to set up your franchise nice because you're going to get 3 first-round picks plus for him. But that drop-off from Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love is going to be severe. And Devontae Adams is probably going to walk out the door with him.
Oh, he's gone. He's gone.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to go play with Derek Carr. That was his guy in college. He's going to try and make his way to the Raiders. So you're losing, some people say the best receiver in the game, and right now the best quarterback in the game. So
The Raiders, and there's another. He played in college in California with Derek Carr, obviously at Fresno State. There's a team in LA that could use a little sidekick receiver. Obviously he'd come in and be number one, but Devontae and Keenan Allen in LA with the Chargers, with Herbert, like that's not a bad quarterback situation at all. Far from it. That would be a scary sight. That would be a very scary sight. They have a lot of cap room, or at least they're projected to have a lot of cap room right now. They have a few guys to re-sign, but if they can get that done, wow. And then what are the Packers left with? No MVP. Arguably the best receiver in the league gone.
I think he's without a doubt the best receiver in the league, and I don't think there's any like. And we did this conversation last year. After this year, I there's no one you could say right now.
It's still hard for me to say. D-Hop missed a lot of the year. He didn't practice since week 2. D-Hop missed so much practice. He missed a lot of games. So it's still, I'm still going to lean towards D-Hop being the best receiver, but you can't overlook what Devontae Adams has done in the past 2 years. Maybe is it because of Aaron Rodgers? I guess time will tell. We'll find out next year. Because I don't think, barring Aaron Rodgers going to California, I don't think Devontae Adams is going to follow him. So we'll see when that duo breaks up what happens with Devontae Adams' numbers.
I agree. And one argument I love here, and like I'll always stick by this, is the best ability is availability. And like, as unfortunate as it is for D-Hop, I still love him. I still think he's right there, like at number 2. I like Devontae Adams after this year. Like you said, Matt, same thing. I was tight last year. I think I gave D-Hop the edge, but after this year, like D-Hop's getting older. The injuries are starting to catch up to him. So,
is there also I'm going to ask LBS this question. This is a personal question for LBS because I haven't heard him talk yet.
Wow. Let's hear it.
Do you think that Devontae Adams has a benefit of not having a real number 2 receiver? Like, do you think that pads his stats?
Yes, like obviously it does, but I don't think you could take much away from it. And if we're talking about Devontae and D-Hop, you know, what the conversation is, obviously it's Devontae right now. D-Hop's not on the field. You know, there's no real argument there. Like, I don't know, down the line career-wise, I like D-Hop personally. He's done it with the fucking scrubs at quarterback.
Absolute scrubs.
You can't take away from his ability as well. But, you know, I think Devontae is the guy right now. And I don't know. I think he definitely does benefit from being the guy. But, you know, I think D-Hop does as well, you know, did as well. So,
and that's also, to me, part of the reason I think he's going to go to the Raiders is because he's still going to be that guy. The Raiders have nobody else. They had Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs is obviously not coming back anytime soon. but you know, maybe that takes some of the pressure off Devontae Adams if he's there. But even like tight end wise, yeah, Robert Tonyan's a good tight end. He's a good red zone target. But Darren Waller, you're playing with that. You got to cover one. You got to double cover one of them, and it's not going to be the same guy every game. Darren Waller, you single cover him with a linebacker, he's going off for 150. You single cover Devontae Adams, he's going off for 150. So defenses are going to play around, and like I said, he wants to play with his boy. So I really do think that he's going to have to show out wherever he goes to prove that he's the number 1 receiver. I think it's going to be with the Raiders, and I think he's going to have to show that he could do it with a second huge option on the team for me to be able to fully sit here and say that he's the best receiver in the NFL right now.
I can also see the Raiders drafting a receiver, though.
I think they will. I think they have to. Because even going into next season, I like Bryan Edwards. I liked him coming out of South Carolina. He was a very big target, and he was a guy that was reliable to catch the football. But he's not. We've seen him. He's not even a number 2 in the NFL. He's a number 3. No. He's a number 3. He's a very good number 3 receiver. And you can't rely – we've seen offenses try and rely so much on a tight end, and it doesn't really work. Like we've seen the Raiders often try and rely so much on Darren Waller. It doesn't really work. We saw, you know, Zach Ertz, the Eagles try and rely so much on Zach Ertz in his prime, never really worked out, right? I mean, they eventually won a Super Bowl. They kind of brought in Alshon. They brought in other receiving options. So that's the way they got to go for me.
We can also talk about the lack of receivers in Vegas, but like we're forgetting about Hunter Renfrow, who's easily been the best receiver for.
But Hunter Renfrow is not a number 1 receiver.
I agree.
Hunter Renfrow
I agree.
A slot guy.
I agree, but to me, he's easily a number 2, and he's one of the best number 2s.
He's a slot machine. So
that's what I'm saying. If you sit there, you put Devontae Adams on.
He's like the second coming of like Wes Welker or whatever.
Literally. If you sit there, just imagine offense. Josh Jacobs in the backfield. First of all, I think Josh Jacobs is top 10 running back. I love Josh Jacobs. I really do. I draft him every year in fantasy, and somehow always screws me, and I still go back to him. But then you sit there, you got Derek Carr, which I think Derek Carr, I've said it many times on this podcast, is an overhated quarterback. And then you look Devontae Adams. Let's just say they add Devontae Adams on the outside, Darren Waller at tight end. You got Hunter Renfrow in the slot, and you add another receiver, a deep threat in the draft. I think that's one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL right there.
Absolutely.
Because Derek Carr can sling a football. People don't really talk about the way
Derek Carr's a 4,000-yard passer. Like,
absolutely.
There's no denying his talent and his ability. But listen, I almost did that too. Vegas has been through.
It also depends is who's calling the plays for Oakland, because you can have all that talent on the field. If you don't have the right guy calling the plays, it's going to screw up, obviously. So put that on paper, that would be a dynamic offense. I don't know who's going to call the plays, obviously, because John Gruden did what he did. Sorry, Cam. Sorry to cut you off.
Oh no, I was done what I was saying. Let's talk wild card a little bit. Playoff race. What who you guys like coming out of both conferences? What's one wild card team you think is locked in? Or that make a strong push?
Well, I mean, whoever finishes second in the NFC West, I guess, is going to be.
Yeah.
The Colts are at like
honestly,
98% right now.
I would not be surprised if they. Well, I think the Rams are going to win that division. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cards got bounced in the first round.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised.
3 in a row now. 3 in a row they've lost.
Yeah.
I think me and Dawson were the only ones who said that they were pretenders when we did pretenders, whatever it was, a month and a go back.
I think in the AFC right now, if we're sitting here, if the standings end the way they are right now, the Colts have to be the most dangerous team on Wild Card weekend.
Oh yeah,
no doubt about that. And they can play on the road, which I love.
And they can play in cold weather. They could play like Carson Wentz comes from Philly. Carson Wentz played in cold weather. JT played at Wisconsin. JT could play in cold weather. You know, like that O-line is built for the run game. Run game wins in cold weather games.
Absolutely.
So the Colts, by far, honestly, I think the Colts are the hottest team in the AFC. I think the Colts are the team to beat in the AFC over the Chiefs. I'm going to put that on record. I think the Colts could beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead. I fully do.
Other than the Colts, I think the Chiefs are like and we all said this. I'm pretty sure it was unanimous a couple of weeks ago. We said the Chiefs, like nobody wants to see them in the playoffs after this past weekend.
I don't think the Colts.
I don't think anyone in the NFL wants anything to do with the Chiefs, like at all.
No.
The Chiefs are 100%.
I think the Colts are right there with them. And maybe, you know, if they keep winning with all these, Darius Leonard's obviously coming back. He was cleared from COVID protocol. But if they can keep winning with all these guys out and get them back at the playoffs, they're a dangerous team. And
Colts have the two things that are perfect for the playoffs: a great run game and a great defense.
Exactly. And
Carson can make.
Don't have that run game. Like I don't trust Clyde Edwards-Helaire to run for 150 yards when I need him to run for 150 yards.
No.
Maybe, you know, even Williams. Williams could get you like 100. Clyde could get you like 75, but you need that one back who's going to get you 150. He's going to fight for that extra yard. Clyde's not a back that fights for that extra yard.
Who wins the AFC North?
I think it's going to be the Bengals.
That's a good, yeah.
But the Bengals will probably lose this weekend though, because they're playing the Chiefs. So that'll sit them at 9-7.
But that's what I that's the game I'm most excited for this weekend.
Yeah, me too.
What is Burrow gonna do? If does Burrow come back and throw for another? I know he's not throwing for another 525 yards. Does he come back? Does he have a 300-yard game? Does Jamar Chase go off? What does that team do against a team that's the number one team in the conference right now? So this is gonna set up for. I said that they were the team that I didn't believe in. So this is going to prove to me, should I start believing in them? Because I don't care about the wins that they've had so far. You know, divisional wins are divisional wins. Every team's going to get divisional wins this year. What are they going to do against the Chiefs? What are they going to do against the best team in the AFC is going to decide how I feel about the Bengals. So next week, you're going to have my answer of how I feel about the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was in the same boat. I didn't really – was just not a firm believer in what the Bengals can do, but – exactly like Shane said, we're going to find out this weekend, right?
That defense is chiming.
Yeah.
So is the Chiefs defense. So I mean, they've
been turning since LBS was a hater. They heard LBS and now they're turning up.
Yeah.
Like I genuinely wonder if we've ever seen like a defense start so poorly and then start playing so well.
But
they were averaging 30 points against in the first six games of the season or something like that.
That's what it's always been. Spags has been like that as a DC his whole career.
I was gonna say it's Steve Spagnuolo, and it's a core that has been together for the last at least like few years. You know, you're talking about Tyrann Mathieu, Daniel Sorensen, Anthony Hitchens is still there. Like
Look, Frank Clark. They had no pressure coming off the edge the first couple weeks. Frank Clark finally woke up. You know, what's his name?
Chris Jones. He was banged up too. He missed a few weeks, so
he's starting to get going too. So. Yeah. You know, it takes some time at some point. I still think they're not great against the pass because they don't have a real number one corner. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the only weakness I see on this team is they don't have a corner. They like Mike Hughes he was a first round pick 3 years ago, but he's a slot. He's a slot corner to me. That's all they got.
I like L'Jarius Sneed. I kind of like him.
I do, but you can't sit here and say L'Jarius Sneed is the number one corner in the NFL.
No.
On a like team that's going to shut down a team from passing the ball, L'Jarius Sneed is not a number one corner.
It's going to be an interesting matchup this weekend for sure because those Bengals receivers are dangerous. Burrow slinging the rock. Steve Spagnuolo, man, his defenses are always do some crazy
they always
shit.
start so slow. It's because he's always the type of guy, and it was shown throughout his career as a Giants DC, is he starts slow and he kind of just adapts because offenses, it's so much easier to call a play as an offensive coordinator than as a defense coordinator because you control the game as an offensive coordinator. So the first couple of weeks, he doesn't know which way the offenses are going to go, right? But then you start watching film week 4, week 5, and then you see the tendencies that an offensive coordinator goes to, and it's easier to adjust than it is for an offensive coordinator to adjust, unless you're sitting here talking about Sean McVay, Andy Reid, you know. But that's the way it's been Spags his whole career, and I've seen that way too many times as a Giants fan.
Absolutely.
Listen, before we move on to like our next topic, we started this topic talking about like the MVP conversation, and I know it's still early in the NBA season, but I just want to talk a little bit about the MVP like race in the NBA. Obviously, there's two.
Wait, before we move on to the NBA, I just want to bring up this new rule that the NFL brought in about the last 2 weeks of the season. You can start interviewing people. I think that was brilliant. I think that was the greatest rule. Like, it helps teams build what they want to do in the future, and we've seen the Jags are taking advantage of it. Cam brought it up in the group chat. I think it was 7 guys they tried to interview. Obviously, Dan Quinn.
Oh, yeah, they were aggressive.
They were aggressive. To me, there's one name at the top of the list that I think needs to be the head coach of the Jags. It's Byron Leftwich. Yeah. He's been there. He was drafted by the Jags. He knows not what it takes to win because the Jaguars don't win, but he knows what it's like to be in Jacksonville, and he's worked with Brady. And if you want Trevor Lawrence to get to that level, I think Byron Leftwich has to be that guy.
I think it just makes so much sense.
We're not saying that Trevor Lawrence is going to be Tom Brady.
No, but I think it makes so much sense for Byron Leftwich. Like, you know, he can take, like, he can, you know, lead a young quarterback, a great young quarterback, you know, and I think it would be a smart, like, career move for him for sure. I don't know. I feel like it would make sense. It makes a lot of sense to me. I don't know why. It just works out, you know?
He's just that guy that I think is going to be.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. The only thing I don't like about this rule is we see it in the NCAA, like guys leaving before the season's out. Right, but how much does it affect the way you coach?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like they'll never explicitly come out in week 17 or week 18 and say like Byron Leftwich is our new head coach. Well, the Bucks are about to like start a playoff run, you know. But anyways, we'll see. But there could be agreements in place beforehand, you know, and then how much does that affect Byron Leftwich? Oh, if I lose this game, doesn't matter. I'm looking ahead to Jacksonville in a few months, you know?
Yeah, but if you're a team that you know can make a run to the Super Bowl, I don't think you're saying, hey, what do I care if I lose? Like,
no,
if you're Tampa, if you're Byron Leftwich in Tampa, you're not going to be like, oh, forget back-to-back if I lose whatever. And we're the team that has the first overall pick.
Yeah, you're right. I just worry about how much of a distraction it could be for some of these guys, you know. Obviously, they're professionals. Like they're not going to abandon ship before the season's done. But we'll see. I do like it for teams that are struggling, like Jacksonville. They can get ahead of it before the offseason hits. But time will tell.
Also, different topic. Something I'm surprised we didn't start this podcast with. John Madden. I was really surprised we didn't start that with. Terrible news. My family was just talking about him. Me and my uncle and my dad a couple of weeks ago. My uncle literally asked me, he's like, is he still alive? Like, those Madden video games, I saw something that he should be the cover of Madden 23. Yeah. And I couldn't agree more. So to Madden's family, we offer our condolences here at Nothing But Controversy.
Terrible news. Like that hit me like a
That's
truck.
one of those that stops the world.
Yeah. At least our world, like as we know.
Like the sporting world. The sporting world gets turned upside down.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's a good note to end the NFL off. But like I said, like I brought up before, the NBA MVP race, right now there's like 2 major heads. We got Kevin Durant and Steph Curry as the odds-on favorites to win right now. But I just wanted to give a special shout out to another guy. It's actually also his birthday today. That's the greatest.
I never saw this coming.
And that's the greatest basketball player of all time, Mr. LeBron James. Not saying he is going to win it. If the season ended today, absolutely not. I would not vote for him. But let me just tell you, at plus 5,000, my goodness, is that juicy odds to bet on at this moment. Because right now, first of all, not to mention the fact that he's actually 37 years old today, which is ridiculous. But he's averaging 28, 7, and 7 at 37 years old, shooting 52% from the field. And over his last 6 games, he's averaging 35, 10, and 6.5. Does not seem to be slowing down. He's doing this without Anthony Davis, with Russell Westbrook, who's playing like a bench player.
That's generous.
And, his team is just absolutely awful around him. He literally had to start at center yesterday.
His team sucks, to be honest.
He absolutely sucks.
Bro, they built this team thinking that this team was going to
I don't know. I don't know what's going on there.
The major trades are about to start happening. And I saw actually something. I don't know if you guys saw this recently. I had heard it before, but it just reminded me. When Larry Bird was GM of the Pacers, when LeBron first came into the league, they asked Larry Bird if he was going to try and trade for an all-star on LeBron's team in the Cavs when he was young. And he said no, because of the sole reason that you're going to give up so many assets, and then the guy's going to come, he's going to be a bum because LeBron made him look good. Like, you're literally trading for an all-star that's not an all-star. He's just playing with LeBron. That's what I think a lot of GMs are kind of scared, because they're seeing this happen more and more. Like, we've seen many trades from LeBron's team that these guys haven't worked out. So I think GMs are starting to kind of notice that.
I mean, we've all seen it before. The first time he left Cleveland, the year he took that sorry-ass team to the finals, the year he left, they had the number 1 pick. That's how bad they were.
They got Kyrie.
And they ended up getting Kyrie.
Didn't they get like 3 out of the
second time he left in 2018, was probably the best basketball player I've ever seen in my life, was LeBron in 2018 in the playoffs. Absolutely ridiculous.
He went down.
They ended up being absolutely terrible. I think they got the number 4 pick and got Colin Sexton the year after. Like,
the Cavs are nasty now, though. But they built a team.
Yeah,
sure.
Great team.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because they didn't build the team last time. They were shit from the time LeBron left to the time LeBron came back, and now they're a team that's could make a deep run in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
they're definitely gonna have a better season than the Lakers are. That's for sure.
Listen, I saw this tweet saying you guys wanted Steph Curry to win the MVP last year, and he got the 8th seed. I want to see the same energy if LeBron takes his team to the playoffs. You know, like, obviously Steph didn't win it last year, but you know, it is LeBron James. He's gonna get that traction. He's gonna get that coverage. He's gonna be the number 1 guy on House of Highlights, on SportsCenter, on all that stuff. So that's gonna give him votes. Plus 5,000 is juicy enough, even if you want to sprinkle like a quick 5 or 10 on it. Like,
I still think the Lakers will squeak into the playoffs just because they're the Lakers and they have LeBron, they have AD, they have Russ. So, and the West is kind of weak this year. Like, they're what are they, a game below 500, and they'll be the play-in tournament at the very least, you know. So
yeah.
I love the play-in.
I don't think
there was a lot of heat for that. I love the play-in tournament.
Yeah, I like it too.
Yeah, it's sick. It's actually
when I first announced it, I was like, oh, this is gonna be so stupid. But I like it. Like, that competitive energy that you bring out in those athletes. There's nothing like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Listen, but also don't get me wrong. Like, the Lakers, like, they still have Anthony Davis. The guy's been sitting for the past 3-4 weeks. Like,
because he's broken every bone.
I know, but he's gonna come back. And Anthony Davis is like a top 10 most dominant player in the NBA. Like,
I don't know.
LeBron James are something different.
When AD's on, AD's unstoppable.
I agree,
but it's a when he's on. It's not a he's gonna be on. It's a when he's on.
Yeah.
And we haven't
like one every other 5 games.
We have not seen AD dominate in a while, I think, personally.
AD has been terrible this year. When he's on the court,
he wasn't great. I don't know.
And maybe that's lingering injuries that we don't know about, but AD has not been good when he's been on the court this year. And wasn't it Charles Barkley that called him out so hard? Or Shaq? It was one of those guys on TNT. Yeah. You know, if you're getting called out by those guys and you're supposed to be a top 5 player or top 10 player in the NBA, you're obviously not doing your job. But I think Steph's gonna win MVP just because everybody he came off that injury last year, or what was it, 2 years ago or whatever, missed some time last year, and the team was so bad last year that people are just Steph's a household name now. He broke the record. People are gonna keep looking at that record. Steph's gonna win MVP even if they finish at like the 7th seed. I think, which they're not. They're gonna finish 1 or 2 with the Suns. But I think Steph's a lock to win it this year. It's not even a conversation that I think needs to be had based on how I've seen people vote on this award for the past 10 plus years.
I think it's worth saying. I think it's worth giving Kevin Durant some props too. I mean, he's been low-key carrying the Nets as well. Like,
me too. I agree. I think
I'm not saying that those guys don't deserve it. I'm just saying that's the way that voters tend to go.
Yeah. And who else I could see sneak back into it is Nikola Jokic. I think he could low-key do it, bro. He's been averaging crazy numbers. It's just a matter of injuries and COVID, whatnot. He hasn't been on the floor that often, I don't think. But
that's another thing I wanted to like.
Jokic is carrying my fantasy team.
Yeah, he's having a year.
That's why it's so hard to like predict what's gonna happen. Like we could say, oh, the Chiefs are 100% gonna like win the AFC, and then bam. And on wildcard weekend, they get hit with the freaking COVID bug, and
the NFL makes their own fucking rules for COVID.
You know what I mean? Like, it's brutal.
Yeah.
Anyways, it is our New Year's special. So in our next topic, we're going to talk about the New Year's Six, and what that is the 6 big bowls in college football. We got one today, so we're going to talk about it maybe today, and then you'll hear about it tomorrow. But today we have the Peach Bowl, which is number 12 Pitt versus number 10 Michigan State. Then we got the 2 semifinal games. We got 4 Cincy against number 1 Bama in the Cotton Bowl. We got 3 Georgia against 2 Michigan in the Orange Bowl. And then Saturday we have 9 Oklahoma State against 5 Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl. 11 Utah against 6 Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. And then 7 Baylor against 8 Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl. I just want to hear if you guys have any thoughts about that. I definitely have some thoughts about the semifinals for sure, but I know Cam's a little bit more in depth for those other games. But yeah,
I want to talk about tonight's game. I don't know who you guys like.
I don't really like anyone, honestly. The 2 big stars are not playing, so that's what I like. Listen, I don't think Pitt is an NCAA like national champion with this team, not at all. But they've been entertaining to watch, and this is where you expand the playoff. Like we've seen these guys shine all year, and it came to such an anticlimactic ending for so many. Like Kenneth Walker, that's the way his Michigan State career ended. They lost to Ohio State, and that's it. They got blown out by Ohio State. He ran for like 40 yards or whatever it was, and now they're so. I don't like Michigan State tonight, though. With all that being said, I don't like them.
That's the thing about these bowls is. You're planning on expanding it to 12, right? And you're sitting here, Pitt's sitting here at 12, and Kenny Pickett would be playing this game.
Right.
But he's not. And Kenneth Walker's not playing this game because these guys don't care. Like, bowl games don't matter anymore. Bowl games are not.
For most players, yeah.
For the school, yeah, whatever. You win a whole bunch of money. Bowl games don't matter anymore to these players. I'm not going to play in an extra game when I'm going to be a first-round pick. And make all that money. I turned my ACL. I just fell to the 5th round or to the 4th round. Like, things like this. So make it competitive. Make people want to watch bowl games. Because I think I've watched one bowl game, and it was the Florida game. And I turned it off because Emory Jones was pissing me off. So, like, I used to love watching bowl games growing up. And now you're sitting here, and it's not exciting to watch anymore because the stars are out of the game.
Well, with that being said, I just want to know how you guys are feeling tonight. I just want to know where to put my money. So what do we like?
I hammered Michigan State. I won't lie.
Yeah,
I did Michigan State -3, but right now it's 3.5. The line. Yeah. So
I took money line as well.
I just hammered the money line.
But here's the thing.
Cat might be the only one that's right, and we're all losing our money.
No. I don't have any like real lean here. I just poor Pitt without Kenny Pickett, man.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I took Michigan State
and Jordan Addison's not playing tonight either.
I feel like Kenny Pickett was like that offense. Well, not.
So him and Jordan Addison were the 1-2. It was Kenny Pickett to Jordan Addison all year. That being said, though, the defense is still all right, so we'll see. But
Do I think it's gonna be a like shootout like Oklahoma and
That was nuts.
Oregon was? No, but I like it might literally end up like 20-14, but it's still gonna be a good defensive battle, and a lot of people are gonna like watching that defense. But I just back to what I said before, let the offensive stars play.
Michigan State's front seven is solid. If I don't even know who Pitt's backup is, if I'm being completely honest.
Neither do I. That's why I hammered Michigan State.
If he can sling the rock, Michigan State might be in trouble. If I had to pick a winner right now, I'd definitely go Michigan State. Just based on this short conversation, but
Yeah.
it's a bit of a tough call. If we want to
I
move
thought
on
we
to
were
the
giving
games that
betting
do
advice,
matter.
but this episode's gonna come out tomorrow.
Well, listen, I'm 1 for 4 on my parlay, so I took South Carolina plus 10, and that was a fantastic play.
Sam Howell was not good today.
He's
He
gonna
got
ball.
rocked a couple of times too.
Sam Howell has not been good all year. You think he declares, Cam?
Yeah,
This guy was the consensus number 2 overall pick behind Rattler. First of all, Rattler's obviously not declared, but the number 1 and 2 consensus before
All
this
the
year.
tables have turned, eh? What a
Yeah.
crazy-
Have we had a weirder year?
no.
Not in recent memory, anyways.
I
Because
feel like it's like this
think
in all sports right now. I don't know why. Like,
yeah, it's just a weird year all around for sure.
And maybe that's COVID, but
yeah, who knows?
do you think he declares?
Yeah,
You think he takes that fall to maybe like the 3rd round?
I don't think he's dropping that far because
But
to me
let's just say-
personally, ability, because he still has a pro day. He can go to the senior. Actually, he can't go to the Senior Bowl, but he still has a pro day. Who's
I think he's gonna fall maybe to the 2nd round. I think he's lowest 2nd round. But
second
let's just
round?
say-
Yeah, but who's
let's just say whatever happens,
definitively
he falls to the 3rd round.
definitively ahead of him right now? Kenny Pickett, yes.
Matt
Corral.
Corral,
Yeah, Matt Corral, yes.
Malik Willis.
No, I don't think so.
I think Malik Willis' run ability is gonna put him above.
Who's taking a chance? Who's taking it? Oh, Sam Howell can run the ball too, bro.
Yeah, but he can't.
He's a
run
tough
up.
cookie. He's a tough cookie.
Yeah, but the way they run the ball is different.
No, it's a lot of QB power. It's a lot of QB draws.
Yeah, but Malik Willis is more of a speed guy. Like Sam Howell is gonna fight for that extra yard. Malik Willis is gonna get that extra yard. He's gonna outrun you for the extra yard.
I honestly think they're pretty similar prospects right now.
I think a team's gonna take I think depending on pro days, right now I think some Malik Willis goes higher.
Me and LBS were having this conversation last night, and I
Yeah,
remember LBS saying he just doesn't trust any Liberty quarterback, and I get it. Like,
we've seen small quarterbacks small school
Yeah,
quarterbacks come in.
That means personally,
That
I don't
doesn't
like
mean
to look at
anything
that too
anymore.
much, but
No. I was joking when I said that, but I brought it up last night because I remember at the beginning of the year, again, we talked about this guy being, the best quarterback, and now I don't really think he's in that conversation. So
personally, I just think we've been spoiled with fucking great quarterback classes, and like the
This
past couple
quarterback
of
class
years,
is not as bad as everybody says it is.
I don't think so either.
I think it's just not. I think it's
What
just
do you
not
think
as good. It's
the-
just not as good as the other ones. And
It's you know what honestly at the root of this, I think at the beginning of the year it was so overhyped, like
Yeah,
Yeah.
with names that we like names
Rattler,
that became
Howell.
obsolete, and then other big names who we now know weren't in the conversation at the beginning of the year, like Kenny Pickett. Even Malik Willis was pretty big coming into this year, but I think
Where
what
you
it comes
putting-
down to is just like the media kind of fell off of these guys, and like okay, they won awards now, so it's like, oh, Kenny Pickett, is he going to be a first rounder? Like he
It's
will.
definitely
He will be. Yeah, he will be. But there's not as much hype around it. So to me, like that's where it's. I still think a couple of these guys can become starters, but
Where are you putting Carson in this one?
development.
Putting him at 5?
Yeah.
He's QB5 right now?
5, yeah.
Behind Howell?
I put Ritter ahead of him, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so too. Do I think Ritter's going to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback? Probably not. But Ritter's going to get a couple starts here and there in his rookie year, I think. Do you think Carson can? Do you think Carson can be a starting quarterback in the NFL? Because you've talked about him a couple times on this podcast.
I like him. I don't know though. It's tough to say. Like I'm not even close to like a pro scout or anything. I just casually watch games. I listen to the insiders as much as I can, but it's hard to say with him. It's like Malik Willis at Liberty. They're a small school. they don't play crazy competition. When they haven't performed super well. So I think he can be a starter. I think he has the arm talent. I think he has the IQ. He has the pocket presence, but depends on the fit. Like any guy like that can go to a team like, let's say the Bucks draft him like they did Kyle Trask. We loved Kyle Trask last year. We haven't seen or heard anything about him all year because
Absolute sneak peek, by the way.
he's sitting behind Tom Brady. So, anyways, that's where I see him. I see him being like a kind of decent big name. Probably won't even know where he ends up getting drafted till a month after the draft, and then wait for training camp and wait to see what happens.
Okay, so for the sake that this is kind of taking a little bit longer than we anticipated, I'll just say each game we'll each give we'll say our money line pick, and if you have anything to add to that game, just say it. So we already did Pitt against Michigan State. We all said Michigan State. Then we got the Cotton Bowl, which is the first semifinal between Cincy and Bama. Is anyone taking Cincy?
I'm taking Bama, but it's going to be a lot closer in my mind than people
What's the
think.
spread? What's the spread in this game?
I think it's 13.5, right?
Both.
I wouldn't be surprised if Cincinnati covered.
That's what I'm saying. I have a feeling it can be a close game, but
like they're playing for like all not
Exactly.
big schools right now. Like that didn't make sense.
I know Bama's full of 5-stars and they have a great offense, obviously. And I at the end of the day, I think Bama's going to win this game. But not having John Mechie is a huge deal.
Absolutely.
He's a great receiver. He blocks very well. Great kid. Obviously Canadian. We love him. But that's a big loss for Bama. Josh Jobe is out too in the secondary. That's big. I mean, like, if any team's going to come back from 2 huge injuries like that, it's going to be Bama. We know that. We've seen that before. I could see Cincy, like, at the very worst, having a backdoor cover and bringing this game to within 10 or something.
Luke Fickell is one of the best coaches in college football. He's going to have his boys ready to go, and I think they're going to cover that 13.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about coaches that have their boys ready to go, I think there's a coach on the other side that's probably going to have his boys more ready to go than Luke Fickell.
Yeah, obviously, I'm not comparing Fickell to Saban. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying people are overlooking Cincinnati because it's Alabama. Alabama has not been the Alabama that we know. Alabama literally has not been as dominant as we've seen.
You're right.
But,
They've been
but
good
to
times,
me-
but they also played the best. They also looked the best. Against Georgia, they looked like the best.
Alabama people are not as scared of Alabama as they were last year or 2 years ago or 3 years ago. People are
But
not.
that should be an indicator. Like, to me, like, I'm a Bama hater. I'm not, like, shy about that. I'm very open about that. But all this team needs probably, to me, in my eyes, is beating Georgia the way they did in the SEC championship. Now they have a shit ton of momentum. Bryce Young's one of, if not the best quarterbacks in college football right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're rolling.
If there's a team that needs a quarterback next year, they're drafted number 1. It's gonna be Bryce Young. I mean,
if there's a team that needs a quarterback, it's Georgia right now.
yeah, for real.
Yeah. So moving on. I mean, we all picked that. We got Georgia and Michigan, and I'll just leave you to you guys. But my pick's Georgia, and I honestly think they cover the 7.5. So.
Is Stetson Bennett starting for sure?
Yes.
Points. Like Stetson Bennett's actually been very good this year. He just had a bad game against Bama. I promise.
Stetson Bennett can't win you a championship. JT Daniels gives you a way better chance of winning a championship.
But like, I love JT Daniels. I loved him coming out of high school. And I really liked him at USC too. But man, like, he doesn't fit this offense. Like, he just has not performed well in this offense at
because
all.
It's a game manager offense, and JT Daniels is not a game manager.
Sure. I somewhat agree with that, but either way, it doesn't work for him. He's got to get out of there. Like, go somewhere.
He's not
else.
going to transfer for a second time.
No, but get out of there. That's my advice to JT Daniels right now. I don't know where to go with this game.
This might be a game time decision tomorrow where I literally flip a coin and see what I do, because I like I said to you guys, if that pass rush gets home, Stetson Bennett's going to be on his ass all game, and it depends how they use Pickens. I talked about it last time. They didn't use him properly against Alabama. Did they learn from their mistake? I guess we'll see. But
he's also probably healthier now 3 weeks later.
Yeah. But Michigan, man, I don't know. I'm gonna say Georgia, but I would not be surprised if there was an upset for Michigan.
I'm just gonna go out on a limb and for whoever is listening right now and needs to hear this or wants to hear this, put some money on Michigan. Don't be
Yep.
afraid. Just do it. Do it. They're very capable. Yeah, that's all I have to say. I'm gonna go Michigan. Michigan money line. Send it. That's my pick.
Yeah, I also have no choice but to go with Michigan money line, so that's also my pick.
Oh yeah.
Oh, facts.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll go to the next one. That's the Fiesta Bowl. Oklahoma State against Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think I'm going Notre Dame too. But
They're a better team, and they're gonna ball out for that new head coach, and they're gonna be pissed off that Brian Kelly left them. This is their first game, not under him in 11 years, I think.
Mhm.
They're gonna come out. They're gonna be pissed off about it. I'm going Notre Dame.
Notre Dame's a no-brainer for me here. I really hope I don't have to watch Spencer Sanders play football ever again after that game.
Is Warren playing?
I think so. I
That's
don't know how serious because
fun
he was padded up when they played Baylor.
yeah.
So
That's going to be a great for people that don't really know the running backs. That's going to be a great running back matchup. Kyron Williams against Jalen Warren. That's going to be such a fun running game matchup to watch.
yeah, Notre Dame. Spencer Sanders sucks unless he has a game of his life, but still don't like him. So
It's kind of hard. It's kind of easy to play better than you did with throwing 4 interceptions. Oh yes, let's hear it, buddy.
I'm going with the luck of the Irish right here.
Oh man, we're gonna be
Irish
turned into
are
one of those
winning.
freaking memes.
Yeah. There's only one game and we're not unanimous right now. Next we'll go to the Rose Bowl. Give me Ohio State. Personally, I think Ohio State was the 4th best team in this country. I don't think Cincinnati is personally, but yeah, I think Ohio State's it's good. They're good, and I think they're gonna win. And I mean, I don't want to foreshadow to my lock of the week, but I'll just leave it for that.
I think they just blew their opportunity to make the playoff, when they lost. But I also have them, winning this game.
I might be crazy, but I actually like Utah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
They beat up Oregon twice. Can't think of the head coach's name right now, but he's got those guys playing. No Olave, no Garrett Wilson.
Exactly.
That's big to me. And Utah routed Oregon twice in like 3 weeks or whatever it was, 3 or 4 weeks. So give me Utah here. Like I'm dead ass Utah money line.
Utah.
All right, and then we have our last one, which is the Sugar Bowl. We got 7 Baylor against 8 Ole Miss, and I think this might end up being game of the New Year's Six.
All I know is hammer the over. I don't know what it's at.
I was great
hammer
to
the
say
over.
that.
I mean, I love Lane Kiffin's offense. I love what the creativity he has, and in a bowl game, you pretty much just you throw everything you got into it, right? You just play wacky stuff. So I can't wait to watch that and watch.
And after what Matt Corral said about like playing for his guys and not like opting out before the bowl game, I got Ole Miss here.
Yeah, I like that too.
All right, so we're all on that. With that being said, we're still in this is the New Year special. So, one of the big traditions you do when the clock turns to midnight is you have your New Year's resolutions. So my question to you guys was, what's your New Year's resolution as a sports fan, right? First, I'll go first. And to me, my resolution is just to stop having such high hopes for every situation the Saints get in, whether it's making the playoffs, because it just brings me stress, more often than not. And they always piss me off. Okay, when the Saints could look like the best team in the NFL. The last 3-4 years, they looked like huge Super Bowl contenders, and they fucking blew it. And then the draft. Don't even get me started on the draft. I've said it on this podcast before. I've said it, and you probably heard it. I am a big fan of drafting linemen, but my goodness, when you draft a lineman freaking 4 years in a row, you got to start drafting your team needs. Right now, the team needs are a receiver. Last year, it was a corner, and they took a corner in the 3rd round and ended up not playing well, Paulson and Demo. But
He
Anyway,
started off really well.
yeah,
He's also going to be a good corner. So
I thought last year was a deep receiver class. This year is beyond deep.
oh my God, I've seen so many. I see mock draft. I mean, I haven't seen a mock draft of the Saints taking Garrett Wilson because he's already taken. He's probably going to be taken top 10. But this guy's
Yeah, but Jameson Williams is right there waiting.
There's Jameson Williams. There's Treylon Burks. There's Chris Olave. Like, if right now the Saints are at 15, one of those guys is going to be there, and that's immediately your number 2 receiver after Michael Thomas. And that's exactly what the Saints need. I see mock drafts and them taking a quarterback. Please don't.
boys, Davis Mills, he's balling out.
No.
He is balling out.
He low-key is.
Yeah.
No, he's balling out for sure. But, like, is that guy going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL? I don't know. You know, the Saints don't need what?
Davis Mills is starting right now, and he's playing better than most rookie quarterbacks.
Mhm.
I guess.
He is. Anyways,
But,
should have been a first-round pick.
no.
I'm just kidding.
But, yeah, Saints. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Oh, he's off hold. Boys, my phone has been going off.
Shall I pause or?
Yeah.
No.
All right, who's going? All right.
Yeah, for my New Year's resolution, I just want to move on from COVID. No, dead ass. This thing is just this mild cold is just ruining professional sports, and I don't think it's fair for teams, to have to play meaningful games with a quarter or more of their roster missing due to this stuff, like due to COVID. Doesn't really mean like it's really actually ruining the game in my opinion. And right now it doesn't seem too serious, like I know a lot of people are catching it, but not a lot of people are sick. Not a lot of people are down bad. I think at a certain point you got to decide, like fuck it and let's just play, let's just stop testing and let's play. Because I don't know. I really don't know. I don't understand how it's holding us back this much. So for me, I just want to move on. I just want to move on from this pandemic, man.
It's time to move on for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, obviously I agree with you, OBS. It's time. I think it's definitely time to move on. Some of the Eagles haven't done well recently, and they have a chance to turn it around. They might be a playoff team this year, if luck goes the right way. But one thing we need is the Eagles to draft well this year. Can't hear me?
You cut off and then I got lost and then you started talking.
Anyway, some of the Eagles haven't done well is draft properly. Looking like 3 first-round picks. Who knows? Maybe they trade a couple. But please draft well. Turn it around. You already have a playoff team. Make it better. That's all I really have. The Habs also need to draft well. So let's hope that happens.
You guys are not going to like this answer. I don't believe in New Year's resolutions, so I don't have one. There are always stupid things that people say on the first 3 days of the new year and then just forget that they made them. So I don't have them because I don't believe in them.
That I can agree with.
Yeah.
That's what, I actually tried. I'm going to be honest. I tried to think of one, but it's kind of hard to think of something that you don't believe in.
Damn, that's very profound.
Yeah. Thank you.
Fair enough. I mean, I kind of agree because I just said I want to stop getting such high hopes to the Saints, but I know deep down that's just never going to happen. So
listen, I'm still going to cheer when the Giants are down 80 points in Week 17 when we've been eliminated since Week 1. So,
I mean, yeah. So we're counting down 2021. I mean, this is our last episode of 2021. It's our New Year's special, and I guess we got to go into our top 5 favorite sports moments of 2021. Like, it's filled with great moments. 2021 was, but yeah, I have a bunch here. I'm just gonna give one honorable mention and a shout out. And that's when Mickelson won the PGA Championship, and that was unbelievable. Oldest guy ever to win the PGA Championship. Like, that's nuts. And it was Phil, the lefty. Everyone loves Phil. Like, it's unreal. But yeah, start with my list. Number 5 was Charles Oliveira finally winning the belt. Ever since I really started getting into UFC, I loved watching Charles Oliveira fight, and I always thought he did it so professionally. And he was so great about fighting, and I've always loved him. And since when he finally won the belt, I think it was so great to see. Number 4, there were 2 Heismans given out in 2021, both to Bama players. So Devontae and Bryce winning the Heisman is my number 4 favorite moments, I guess, of 2021. Number 3 has to be the Maple Leafs blowing a 3-1 lead to the Habs. Unreal. Like, you got to, if any other team blows a 3-1 lead, it's like, it's funny, but it's not if the Leafs did it, like
In the first round, nonetheless.
Like, are you kidding? Everyone
Like they were throwing the parade.
dude, like, oh, that was so great.
That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah. Number 2, Alabama winning the national championship against Ohio State. Of course, my favorite team. That was my only favorite team that won a championship this year, so I had to throw that in there. And number 1, the Habs playoff run in general. Of course, it has to be that. We're all Habs fans. It was the first time we ever seen the Habs get to the Stanley Cup and be that successful in the playoffs, and it was a magical time.
And now here we are.
It was unreal. I mean, the Habs absolutely suck now, but in what was it, like June? It was nuts. It was
Electric.
what a time to be a Montrealer. Let's be honest.
Electric.
Like, the city was
Even if
buzzing.
you weren't a Habs fan, you were cheering for the Habs.
It was fun.
In Montreal.
It was
Not around the world, but
It was an absolute Cinderella story.
It reminded me of when the Raps made it to the finals, Like, it was like
yeah,
everyone.
but the difference is the Raps deserve to be there. The Habs did not deserve to be there. Well, not that they didn't deserve, but the Habs should not have been there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I guess I'll get into mine here. Very different list, but I think we might have a unanimous choice near the top of our list. At number 5,
have that at the top of our list.
I have a couple soccer moments here. At number 5 was the men's national team beating Mexico in Edmonton not long ago. Great game. It was fun to watch. We didn't watch the whole thing, but it was nonetheless a really cool moment. The guys diving in the snow and stuff.
I was gonna say it's my favorite moment, not on my list.
Biggest moment for Team Canada soccer.
Oh, without a doubt.
At number 4, I have the women winning gold at the Olympics. That was huge for them, getting over the hump. Great to see them get some recognition finally because they've been so good for so long. Christine Sinclair, Canadian legend. She'll go down in the books. At number 3, I love Tom Brady. Seeing him get a 7th ring was bananas to me.
That's great.
At 2, Giannis getting his ring. Man, all the videos that came out around that time, like just showing his progress from when he was drafted to he looked like KD and beefed up. And
my favorite championship video from him was him going to Chick-fil-A. That killed me. That was so funny.
Yeah, no, great guy. No one more deserving at that time. And yeah, number 1, the Habs playoff run / being in the Cup final. What a time! What a time! The summer was insane. I never made it downtown to those watch parties, but kind of regret it now.
Those were absolutely electric, let me tell you. Is
All
it,
right,
It's your
your top 5.
yeah, for sure. So I got biggest events that happened this year. But at number 5, I started off with Damian Warner, the gold medalist in decathlon. That's huge because when you win that, you're crowned the greatest athlete of the world, which is pretty cool. And he was only the 4th person to score over 9,000 points, which I just found out. So that's pretty cool. Number 4, I'm putting Canada beating Mexico in the World Cup qualifiers. I don't know why, but that game just felt different, bro. I don't know why there was so much hype around it. And then obviously the left back jumping in, or the right back jumping in the snow after Kyle Laren's game winner. That was awesome. Number 3, I'm putting Canada women's soccer, the gold in the Tokyo Olympics. That's huge, the first ever for Canada. So that's awesome. Number 2, I actually put the introduction of NIL for NCAA athletes. I feel like that's something we've just been talking about since like we were in high school, like we just constantly been talking about how like this needs to happen, and it finally did. And I think it's going to change the game for good. And obviously,
I'm honestly happy that
it already did.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
happy that they waited until now because I wrote so many papers on why that should
right?
be. And
Look,
it got me
Bro,
through.
I was trying to write one for the end of the year and I couldn't write it in one of my classes because they changed the rule.
Yeah. So yeah, that was huge this year, I think. And number one is obviously the Habs Stanley Cup run. Like, it's just weird because as like undeserving or like unwarranted as it was, like the city was buzzing. And I think being downtown when Lehkonen scored that OT winner in Game 6 against Vegas was probably one of the best sports moments I've ever been a part of. So that's got to be number one for me.
It could have been anybody else but Lehkonen, but I guess I'll give him his credit.
He scored a huge goal.
Yeah, I'll give him his credit for that one goal. That's about it. Honorable mention. This one kind of feels like super long ago, but the Habs firing Claude Julien. Thank you. That one feels like it happened like 5 years ago, but it happened in January, February. Number 5. Watching my boys at Florida get drafted, Kyle Trask, Kyle Pitts, and Kadarius Toney, watching them get drafted.
And
After
Marco Wilson.
Don't get me started. After an absolute electric year at Florida, one of the best I can remember off the top of my head. So watching those guys get drafted. Number 4, Andre DeGrasse winning his medal.
I was hype.
Yeah. That was like so early in the morning. I was actually shocked. Like I set an alarm to watch that. Like that's how excited I was to watch him win that. I went right back to bed after he won, but also won a lot of money on him winning that race. So thanks, Andre.
I love the way he always like seems to start slow and then just like turns on the jets.
Yeah, then he's gone. Then you can't catch him. Number 3, Cam had it on his list too. Giannis winning the ring. He was like, aside from maybe like Chris Paul, he's that guy that everybody in the NBA wanted to see win a ring because of everything he did for Milwaukee. He re-signed that contract, that 5-year max extension to stay in Milwaukee, and he did what he needed to do. He won in Milwaukee. So that was just one of the most wholesome moments in sports this year. Number 2, not a moment that the whole world was a part of, but my first win as a head coach this year. My first year as a head coach, so my first.
I respect that.
Yeah, that's sick.
I like that. I like that.
In week 1, my first win, and the team went 8-2. So that's my second moment. Would have been number 1, but man, the Habs going to the Stanley Cup has got to be number 1 for anybody in Montreal. It's just most electric. Like I said, everybody in Montreal, even if you hated the Habs, you were kind of cheering for them because you wanted to see the city pop off, and it might have been a dangerous place to live for one night had they won it, but it was electric.
Hey, I gotta say, those are some great lists, boys.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. Listen, we have one more topic to talk about, and I'm just gonna let Shane take the floor because he said he's prepared a rant for us, and honestly, I think it's long overdue. So take it away, buddy.
Does anybody have anything to say before we get going?
I think it was a great idea to cancel the tournament.
I know you're joking, so I'm fine.
I was hoping it would add some fuel to your fire.
Listen, the IIHF has been under fire this week, and for multiple reasons. The first was canceling the women's tournament for the second year in a row while playing the men's tournament, okay? So that was the first wrong. Everybody was mad about that. I completely disagreed with what they did on that. I think if the men could play, the women could play, which I'm assuming all of you believe too, because that's just the right thing to believe. So the IIHF right now is just an absolute complete joke. They're a complete joke. They're run by Krusty the Clown right now. That's literally what they're running. He's fucking running Krusty Land right now. That's how bad he is. Running the IIHF right now. You literally canceled the World Juniors with 4 COVID tests. Of 250 players plus staff, let's say 400 people. Okay, 400 people. You canceled the tournament because 4 people tested positive. Okay, last year you put it in a bubble and you secluded the players, and they were the only ones allowed into the hotel. This year, you allowed other people in the hotel. There was a wedding at the hotel that these players were staying at. Like
that's what I was gonna say too. It's not even so much like whatever, but it's just the planning. Like how do you? It's not like, anyways.
You're not allowing these players to go anywhere, but you're allowing people in the hotel with them. Like, what are you doing? They have to all those people working, that all those people that spent money trying to go see these games in Edmonton to see their kids play. These kids stepped away from their family at the biggest holiday of the year, from all over the country. Like people from Austria and Slovakia might not be coming to Canada to watch their kid play. They'll be watching on TV. But seeing your kid play on TV is not seeing you play in person. Ray Ferraro said it best, is these kids, some of these kids, these 18, 17, 16, 18-year-old kids, this is the biggest hockey moment of their career. They'll never play anything outside of this tournament that's bigger. Like these kids from smaller countries like Austria, like maybe not Slovakia, but Germany, these guys are playing the biggest tournament worldwide. Everybody's watching in this world. This is not just Canada's watching. Oh, the States are watching. This is not the NHL. Obviously, the NHL is the biggest league in the world, but this is international. Their countries are watching. There's people that draft scouts didn't know until this tournament. Well, not that they didn't know, but weren't on their radar until this tournament. And they popped off, and they're going to watch them. And they might draft them in the 5th, 6th, 7th round. Now you're not getting that chance. Okay, so right now, Krusty the Clown needs to step down as president of the IIHF. Let someone who's going to run it properly so we can get rid of Krusty Lad. And I've seen people bring up things that we should do, and letting these kids play at the Olympics, let these be the official Olympic rosters, which I agree with. The people that can go to the Olympics, let them go. Maybe, Mason McTavish might be in the NHL, who knows? Cole Perfetti might be in the NHL, he might not be able to go. But try and get these same rosters, or relatively these same rosters, and let them go to the Olympics. Let these kids have this tournament, or postpone the tournament. But you can't just cancel this tournament. This is everything these kids have worked for their entire life. The Slovak goalie came out and literally ruined the IIHF.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like he worked his whole life. And go ahead, LBS. You look like you had something to say.
They clearly dropped the ball. Like I don't know how they're. First of all, obviously there was only 4 or 5 positive tests.
I heard asymptomatic, by the way.
All asymptomatic. I heard there was an issue with the refs as well. Apparently 5 of them tested positive. But I feel like I don't know how they didn't have measures in place for this.
You're making these kids fly into quarantine 2 weeks before, and you're going to drop the ball like that? Unacceptable.
Exactly. Unacceptable. And you should know that there's going to be positive cases. Why would there not?
Why are you testing people that don't have symptoms?
No, but not to mention, last year Germany had a whole outbreak on their team. Yeah. They had 10 guys go down.
Still played. The
whole tournament went on.
Did they lose? They got shafted, but they still played.
So I don't know what was the turning point this year where they.
You want to know what it was? Is they tried to right their wrong when they canceled the women's. They were under fire so much they tried to right their wrong because everybody was like, oh, if the men can play, so can the women. But now they canceled the men, so everybody stopped talking about the women. Okay, so they just tried to right their wrong, and they ended up creating more fire in this, added more fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
So step down, Krusty the Clown. I need you to step down. Let someone do it. Go back to the old guy because he knew what the hell he was doing. Absolute bullshit. It's a joke. The IIHF right now is a joke. It's a joke to the world right now.
I agree.
Freeze these rosters and play again in the summer at worst.
Exactly. You can't just cancel this tournament. You got to postpone it. Do it maybe, a month before the draft. Like I said, some of these guys are not going to get a chance to get drafted that they would have in this tournament. And it's a shame. They dropped the ball, and you're playing with kids' lives here.
Yeah.
Hey, I think you're right, man.
Great rant. Nothing to add.
Fantastic. Listen, we'll go into our last little segment here. We're gonna end 2021 off with a couple ways to make some money in our lock of the week in terms of betting. Like I said before, I know Cam and Shane are against me here, but my lock of the week is Ohio State -4.5 in the Rose Bowl.
I like it. I'm gonna go back to the NFL. I actually got the Rams at -3.5 early on in the week. It's down at 4.5, but I like them. I like them to cover against the Ravens. I think the spread's a little slim for how both teams are looking.
I was gonna go back-to-back Rams too, and my cardinal rule of betting is not to bet on your own team, either for or against. But the Eagles have too much at stake this week. Washington, well, we saw what Washington looked like against Dallas. I have the Eagles right now as minus 3.5 point favorites, so I'm gonna lay the points here. Give me Philly minus 3.5.
Boys, for the lock of the week that I said was probably not going to hit earlier in this show. We're making a parlay.
Oh wow!
A two-leg, 2-day parlay.
Wait, for the record, the consequence this week is taking a shot on the next time we film. So, see that.
A two-leg, 2-day parlay. First game, January 1st, the Sens and the Leafs. That game is going to go over. Second game, January 2nd, the Stars and the Coyotes. Also going to go over. That is my lock of the week. What?
Over's
Normally
what,
hockey set at 5.5.
5.5?
Yeah. 5.5, sometimes 6. So either way, you need the goals. I'm taking, even if it's at 6, I'm still taking it.
Well, hey, listen, if you watched our show before, you know that we are great sports bettors. We're all fantastic. We all hit every single one of our bets. So if you want to head into 2022 with a bang, we just gave you 5 ways to do so. So, yeah. With that being said, that does it for episode 53. And that does it for the 2021 version of Nothing But Controversy. Let's take this time to say thank you for supporting us all year. We look forward to bringing you more interviews, more funny content, and more sports talk in 2022. With that being said, like this video, share our podcast, and Shane, on his birthday, will give you a birthday kiss.
See you guys next year.